Hello and welcome to this week's Design and Innovation segment. This is Alejandra Galindo reporting live from Bogota, Colombia. And this is Catch Up News. Susan's team is at our New York's News Center. Let's see what she has in store for us today.
Thanks, Allie. This is Susan Steen with Catch Up News. Today we're going to be talking about innovations right in your backyard in our cities. First up, the World Economic Forum announced the release of JLL's Innovation Geographies. Innovation Geographies is a report that ranks 100 cities globally to quantify their innovative and talent strengths. How do they measure innovation? The methodology relies on 4 measures. 1, foreign direct investments in high-tech industries. 2, attraction of venture capital. 3, research and development expenditure. And 4, international patent applications. And which cities are most innovative globally according to this report? Not surprisingly, perhaps, San Francisco is ranked number 1, and New York is ranked closer to 8 behind Beijing, San Jose, and Paris. Some critics of the report point out that the tech-heavy bias and the fact that the report overlooks innovations in other parts of the economy, including education, social services, and the arts, undermines its potential reliability in measuring the innovation of cities. However, JLL argues that the combination of innovation and talent concentration measures that they use are most closely linked with economic growth and real estate performance. So there you have it, innovation cities. Back to you, Allie.
Today, women make up for more than half of people living with HIV worldwide. Social and economic vulnerabilities make young women twice as likely as males their age to acquire HIV. Conrad, a global nonprofit specializing in women's reproductive health, has been working for well over a decade developing microbicide products women can use to protect themselves against HIV infection. Conrad develops state-of-the-art microbicides, which can be highly effective in preventing HIV infection. However, early clinical trials found that a large percentage of women were not using microbicides. The low uptake was caused in part by the complexity of their drug regimen and the need to develop a new habit, but more significantly by the stigma of HIV itself. In an effort to design and test a radically new approach to increasing demand for and adherence to HIV prevention, Conrad teamed up with Project Emotion and IDEO. The collaboration began with an extensive field work in high-risk areas across South Africa, where they learned that while women wanted to protect themselves, they avoided clinics and anything that appeared associated with medical care for the fear of the stigma of being seen as sick. Building on the insights and feedback from the field, it turned out that the best way to be discreet about HIV prevention was to be visually bold, embracing the aesthetic of an everyday fashion accessory or cosmetic. By creating a brand image that was fun, full of energy, and empowering, the product became largely invisible to men, but desirable to women. A complete ecosystem to support a woman's prevention journey was designed. From hearing about the product, to getting the initial HIV test, to adopting the regimen long-term. Today, the actual prevention medicine delivered in a pill form is introduced to women in a stylish starter kit. Designed to let them be as discreet as they choose, the pill bottle comes nestled in a brightly printed makeup bag, along with colorful stickers that can be used to disguise the medical label. In order to eliminate the stygonizing sound of rattling pills, the kit contains a silicone-lined compartment that looks like a lip balm, but quietly holds a week's worth of medication. The vibrant aspirational brand identity and starter kit tested extremely well with women. Promising to be so attractive and subtle, it eliminates associations with medicine and illness, but rather empowers women to take charge of their own health.
And more news on innovations in our cities. Bloomberg Philanthropies and the City of Paris announced the launch of a joint project to monitor air pollution in Paris schools. According to World Health Organization, ambient air pollution accounts for around 4.2 million deaths worldwide each year. 91% of the world's population lives in areas that exceed the air pollution limits outlined by the World Health Organization. To address this problem, Bloomberg Philanthropies and the City of Paris designed a pilot program using innovative technology and human-centered design techniques. Under the program, 150 microsensors of various air pollutants will be installed at daycare centers, primary schools, and secondary schools throughout Paris. And they will be installed ahead of this year's beginning of school in September. New information and insights on air quality will be collected, analyzed, and integrated into the existing air quality monitoring and mapping system operated by their project partner. Starting from September 2019, families will have access to accurate, real-time data on air quality at the facilities and care institutions frequented by their children, made available via an interactive mapping tool published on paris.fr. And based on the results of this preliminary experiment on monitoring air quality, the program will be refined and is expected to be expanded globally to cities worldwide. Thanks for catching up with me. Back to you, Allie.
Scientists have developed tattoos that change color in response to changes in your body chemistry. People have been tattooing themselves for more than 5,000 years. In the past, tattoos have been used to indicate a person's status or more recently, aesthetic preferences. But now they could be a way for people with serious health issues such as diabetes or kidney disease to track their conditions in real time. A team of scientists at the Technical University of Munich in Germany developed a way to tattoo the skin with a fluid that changes color as certain properties in the blood spike or decline. This fluid is made up of different dyes that react with elements of a person's metabolic system. The Technical University team tested 3 of those elements: pH level, glucose, and albumin, which is a type of protein found in the blood. They injected the different dyes into patches of pig skin, which tattoo artists commonly practice on, and chemically adjusted concentrations of the 3 biomarkers. The tattoos changed color as the concentration of pH, glucose, and albumin shifted. To evaluate these changes, the researchers developed an app that detected the color of the tattoo and gave it a reading of what possible health concern it might indicate. According to the study, researchers believe that applying these color-shifting tattoos to patients whose health conditions must be monitored by measuring levels of these elements could be a low-cost way to offer them a consistent way to track their health. Each of the elements measured tracks with specific health concerns. Changes in a person's pH, for example, could indicate a range of issues, particularly with the lungs and kidneys, which helps regulate blood acidity. As pH levels rose, the tattooing shifted from yellow to blue. On the flip side, if it appeared dark blue, they'd know it was too high. The glucose detecting shifted from light green to dark green as concentrations of glucose increased. High blood glucose levels could indicate diabetes, which inhibits the body's ability to metabolize sugars. So a person with diabetes could be clued if they are experiencing a dangerous spike by the color of their tattoo. The changes in the tattooing are not diagnoses in and of themselves, but rather a potential way for a patient with long-standing health concerns to keep an eye on their conditions with a relatively low-maintenance way. The idea is still new and preliminary, but the Technical University team will continue to study the feasibility of the dermal monitoring system. And perhaps the line between medical offices and tattoo parlors will one day begin to blur.
Another example of how design methodologies are being used to improve urban policy, the Service Design Studio at the New York City Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunity used service design to unearth a trauma-informed approach to shelter policy and programming. In New York City, homelessness increased 115% from 1994 to 2014, while 150,000 rent-regulated apartments were lost and rents increased nearly 19% despite increases by less than 5% in income. Through the Department of Homeless Services efforts, the shelter census has remained flat for over 2 years, and they've improved conditions in existing shelters. To build on these efforts, the Service Design Studio used human-centered design techniques to improve policies and procedures. They pursue 2 overarching questions. How might they identify shelter practices that unintentionally create or reinforce trauma in families? And how might they identify opportunities to mitigate trauma of homelessness? To proceed, they worked with various stakeholders and used design tools including stakeholder maps, journey maps, and research probes. Steps included research, interviews, and a co-design session to identify key themes and a wide range of solutions while working with all the major stakeholders. The resulting recommendations were provided to the Department of Homeless Services Executive Office that is working with each department to identify specific initiatives that push forward trauma-informed care. And that's it for me. Thanks for joining and catching up with us on Catch Up News.